Hello and welcome to Dotto Tech. We've got something very special coming up on today's show. We are going to compare the iPhone and the Blackberry. Now, we don't usually do comparisons on this show, but this is by popular demand, and I do mean popular. These two products dominate the smartphone scene. We're going to stay on the idea of phones as well with a look at how voice over IP can fit into your family life. And speaking of family life, one of our favorite printer manufacturers has done a nice revamp of their lineup. They've designed their multifunction printers with an emphasis on either the home and family environment or the small office environment. Now, a lot of features, of course, are going to cross over from one to the other. A few weeks ago, we looked at Epson's Office product, but this week we're going to have a close examination of Epson's Artisan 800, which is their new do-everything flagship all-in-one product. Now, the bar has been raised to a very high level in the all-in-one market, and I'm hard-pressed to think of anything that they've left out of this unit. It's got a whole new and very sleek and stylish look about it. First thing you're going to notice is the automatic document feeder in the top and the large touchscreen display here on the front. So let's talk our way through the features, and there are a lot of them. First up, let's talk about how it's going to fit in the office and light schoolwork category and the built-in tools in that area. And the first and most important one there is the automatic document feeder here in the lid. As an all-in-one product, it is a scanner as well as a copier. And it's a flatbed scanner and copier, which is great because if you're doing things like school books or newspapers, you have to be able to lay them down on the bed in order to scan them in. But often, you're going to want to scan in a stack of documents, especially if you're using it, say, as a fax service. In that case, you just flip the lid part here open, and it becomes an automatic document feeder, which will hold up to 25 sheets of paper. That's fantastic, especially if you're doing a lot of faxes. And it will fax in both black and white and color. But it's also really useful if you're scanning in a lot of paper documents. Plus, they also include optical character recognition, or OCR software, which will convert your documents into text. So you can easily capture text from paper, sheet paper, or you can also lay down newspaper and magazine prints in order to capture it from there. So very, very flexible as far as how we acquire information. Now, it's also quite economical. It supports double-sided printing very nicely. Now, Epson's done a good job with their software and their printer drivers so that if you want to do double-sided documents and use less paper, they've got all of the tools built into your printer drivers to be able to do that. They'll tell you when to flip it over and they'll do all of the collation for you. Or you can add an optional duplexer, which you plug into the back, which will then automatically flip the paper over so you can print on both sides of your paper. Now, Epson's paper handling is really exceptional. They've got a very straight-through paper path. That means that you can print on irregular type of paper. You can print on much stiffer stock, including printing on things like CDs and DVDs. And Epson's always been very strong with that. So, for example, in the past, we've had a little tray that we can use that we can plug a printable CD or DVD into, and then we can, using the straight-through paper path, we can actually print on that inkjet-capable CD or DVD. But instead of having a separate tray now that you had to line up and put in, they've got the built-in tray. So you just hit the button there, it comes out. You just pop your CD or DVD into the tray, then design yourself a great label using Epson's Print CD software that makes it really easy to design wonderful-looking labels for your printable CDs or DVDs, and it'll print it using the straight paper path. It will print it up for you. Now, a lot of people actually have purchased Epson's in the past just because of their strength in printing on CDs or DVDs, and they've just made it even better with this particular version. But of course, printing on CDs and DVDs, that's not the only thing you're going to want to print on. You're going to want to print on plain paper, and you're going to want to print photos. If we take a look here at the paper tray, we see it has a bottom repository here where we can put our normal 8.5 by 11 or 8.5 by 14 paper, and then it has a dedicated photo tray that will accept either 5 by 7 or 4 by 6 inch photo paper. Now, this is a great feature to have built in to a multifunction device because you are going to want to print a lot of photos, and you don't have to run around each time and then change the paper tray every time you want to print a photo. It's ready to go. And speaking of printing photos, the most important thing in printing photos is ink, and we have a photo printing system. It uses Epson's Claria 6 ink system, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, as well as light cyan and light magenta. And having 6 different ink colors gives us a really wide color gamut, meaning that we have exceptional quality for printing photos. But it goes beyond that because it also uses something called smart nozzle technology. Epson's got these DX5 smart nozzles, which will, believe it or not, put ink on the page in 5 different droplet sizes. Some of them as small as 1.5 picoliters. Now, I'm not exactly sure what a picoliter is, but I know it's really, really tiny. Now, if you think about that kind of control, a wide range of color and then total control over the size of the droplet, that's going to give you exceptional control, especially where you have gradations. Things like skin tones come out brilliantly on this printer. Sharp and grain-free prints. Now, Epson calls their ink high definition. You can understand when you have that kind of control over the ink, but the Claria high definition ink also resists smudges, scratches, and water. So that means that the prints, which print very fast, by the way, will stand up to wear and tear of regular life and, of course, last for a long time looking great. Now, beyond the ability to print well, there's lots of built-in software, both that we can install in our computer and also just built into the device itself, because it lives well as a standalone printer as well as hooked up to a network. But I'll talk about that in a second. Some of the software that they built in will do things like automatic photo correction, depending on how good a job your digital camera's done of capturing images, because of course we can plug directly in to memory card or to USB port here to be able to print directly from any memory sticks out of our computer. But beyond the color correction, you can also take old and faded photographs, put them on the scanning bed, and it will actually restore the color from those faded photographs. So it works great as a standalone device. But now let's talk about how it fits into our overall computer network. We can plug in through USB. We can also plug in through Ethernet. It'll wire in through an Ethernet connection, making it a network printer shared amongst the whole family's computers. But even better than wired into the network is the ability to make it run wireless using Wi-Fi, so that all of the notebooks in the house that use wireless printing can use this particular device. It's one device that can service all of the computers in the household. Now, when it is in standalone mode, when you're using it as a fax machine or as a copier, or even if you're printing from memory cards, at that point there, this touch screen here comes into play. And it's a 7.8-inch touchscreen with a 3.5-inch LCD panel in the center. That's the color panel for actually viewing the photos and doing any correction of things that you want on the photos. Now, they've done a nice job with this panel because it's very positive as far as its interaction, and because they're using kind of soft keys as opposed to hard keys that are, dedicated to one purpose, depending on what screen you're in, the different outside control keys will change, giving you a much more user-friendly experience. And it will do an amazing number of things besides just the core applications of faxing, copying, and printing. For example, if we take a look here in the second page of features, we see that we can actually create little coloring books or print ruled papers ourselves. Now, I printed off some of those for you, but these are kind of little templates that are built in that will print common types of print jobs that you might need. For example, do you ever need graph paper for the kids? Do you have some sitting around the house? Probably not. Well, there's a little template built in that'll print off graph paper for you. And beyond graph paper, it'll also print off ruled paper for the kids to do their foolscap type work at school. Now, I don't know if kids actually write on paper like this anymore, but if they need to, you can print off pages for them to print on. You can even do creative things. You can make customized note paper with photograph faded in the background and rules in front, so you can do thank you notes for a wedding or something like that. And you can also take photographs and convert them into coloring books so the kids can color in pictures of themselves. This is one of my favorite features. Just take any photo, put it down, and it automatically converts it like that, so you can make your own family coloring books. Of course, that's just built in to the multifunction device itself. With the included software, you can create invitations, cards, calendars, photo books, and so much more. You really have to take your hat off to Epson. They've packed so much into the Artisan 800. I love the built-in features. These personalized papers, they're great. The built-in photo restoration is something that you're really going to appreciate. Now, when a piece of technology lets you expand your horizons and open your eyes to new possibilities, it is worth noticing. And the Artisan 800 makes me sit up and take notice. Blogs, podcasts, streaming video. You can find it all on our website. Check it out at dottotech.com.